Travis, and today we're going to be making biscuits. This dessert is pretty easy, and it's not even really a dessert. I often make this for breakfast or a bunch of other different ways that you'll see later on in this video. To start, you're going to preheat your oven to 425 and line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Next, you're going to take a bowl and you're going to combine 2 cups of flour with 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. Then you're going to take a whisk, or if you have one, a pastry blender, and just stir that up. Next, you're going to add in 6 tablespoons of butter, and I've just chopped this into small little pieces so that it'll be able to combine into the flour mixture. So you're just going to add that in, and then you're going to use your pastry blender, or if you don't have one, just your fingers, to basically just smush it all together. And you want to get this into like pea or oatmeal sized flakes. Next, you're going to take 3/4 cup of whole milk, or if you want to add more of a tangy flavor, buttermilk. And you're just going to add that into your dough and then take a fork and stir it all around until it's combined. A fork isn't going to do all the work for you though, so you're going to have to take your hands and just smush it together and then sort of knead it to make it come together a little bit better. It's time to roll out the dough. So you're going to need a rolling pin, and then we actually have one of these plastic, I guess, little rolling mats, though I'm not actually going to use it for this video since most people probably don't have it. So for most people, you should just make sure your counter is clean, and then you can just take a little bit of flour and just sprinkle your counter with it until it has a nice coating. You'll have to clean this up later though, which is why one of those mats is really great. And you also probably want to get some on your hands since this dough is pretty sticky. Then you're going to take your dough and you're just going to try to shape it into the closest shape to a ball you can get it, and then just plop it in the middle of your base. Then you probably also want to get some flour on your rolling pin. And now you're just going to roll it until it's about 1/2 inch thick. When rolling, you should always make sure to keep flouring the top of it, and you should always turn your rolling pin different ways so it gets as close to a circle as you can get it. So this is about 1/2 inch. So I'm going to I have actually one of these 2-inch cookie cutters, and that's what I'm going to use to cut little circles. Though, if you don't have one of these, you can just find a glass that you have that's close enough to 2 inches, and that will work too. That's actually what I used before I had one of these. You might find that flouring just the tips of it makes it a little easier to work with. And then you're just going to use it to cut as many little 2-inch rounds as you can. So next, you're just going to take the dough that's around your little 2-inch circles off, and then you're just going to put that in like a pile and smush it together. Then you're going to take your little 2-inch circles and just put them somewhere for safety. Now you're going to take your scraps and you're going to fold this into a ball, smush it, flour it, and roll it. This is going to get pretty repetitive pretty fast. Next, you're going to do the same thing, and then just keep repeating that until you don't have any dough left. So here I just have a little bit left, so I'm going to sort of just smush this myself and make it look sort of ugly, but that's okay since this doesn't have to be the one that I eat on camera. Next, you get to clean up. That will be fun. So now you get to bake them. So for the purpose of this video, which is actually just me eating one, I'm only going to bake one. I know it's very sad, this biscuit will be very lonely, but I am sorry. However, you might notice, what am I going to do about these other ones? Well, never fear, for these biscuits can be frozen in the freezer. So I'm just going to put them in a container and freeze them for as long as I need to. Obviously, you don't want to keep these in the freezer for like 2 years, but for like 2 months, they'll be pretty good. So now you can put these in the oven for about 12 to 18 minutes. I usually do about 13 to 16-ish. And your biscuits, or biscuit in my case, are done. You should take it off out of the oven. You can make your biscuits a little higher when you're making them, and then they'll poof up even more, but this is okay. So you should let this cool probably, but I'm a little too lazy for that. So I'm just going to open it up, and it should all flake away once it stops steaming. And then you can eat this with butter. But to take this to the next level, you can either do my favorite method of eating this and take some honey butter, which I'll explain how to make in a bit, and just put it on your biscuit and eat it that way. This is my favorite way for eating it for breakfast because it's really delicious and tasty. My favorite way to eat these biscuits is by making honey butter. So you can take as much heavy cream as you want. Obviously, since I'm the only one eating this one biscuit right now, I'm only going to take a little bit of heavy cream. A note here is that if you have your heavy cream at room temperature for a while, it'll be much faster in the butter making process. So then you're going to put your lid on your jar and shake it. If your heavy cream is at room temperature, it'll take about 2 to 3 minutes to make butter. If it's straight out of the fridge, it'll take about 15 minutes of shaking. This is gonna go on for a while. So I'm just gonna cut until I get to the next stage of this butter. After a little while, you're going to notice that it's hard and it's very difficult to shake. This is the whipped cream stage. So if you open it up, you'll see that you have made whipped cream. So actually for the next thing you can do with biscuits, you're going to need whipped cream. So I'm going to take just a little bit of this whipped cream for that. Just a little. Very sad amount. And keep shaking to make butter. So I'm still shaking, but I'm going to show you what to do once you reach the butter stage. You're going to take some cheesecloth, and you're going to take enough for about 2 layers in a little strainer. Just fold it back, and then you're going to put this in the sink. When your butter is done, you're going to dump it in there. Then you're going to run cold water on it, right over it, and let all the liquid drain from it. Then you're going to take the cheesecloth and sort of smush it to get all that extra liquid out. You might want to keep that extra liquid though, since that's buttermilk and you can use it to make something else, including the biscuits. You should also add salt to the butter just to make it a little bit tastier for putting on things. And of course, in this recipe, honey. So I'll show you how to do that in a minute. After a little longer, you'll notice it's all sloshy and all the molecules have separated. So you have this clump here and then you have liquid around it. And that is your butter. So now I'm going to go do what I told you to do earlier. Once the liquid running from your cheesecloth is clear, then you'll know to take it off the water. So then you're going to take your butter, which may look like a mush inside cheesecloth, and you're just going to dump that into your bowl. Then you can add some flake salt and give it a stir. Then you're going to want to add some honey to make honey butter, obviously. This is just regular honey from a bear that we've all seen before, but this is better when you have better honey, but we're out of it. So we're just going to use the bear honey, and we're going to stir that around. And you want to add as much as you want. This is really to taste, so you should taste it and then add more if you want. So don't start with too much. So that was the right amount. For this teeny little amount, I probably added a 1/4 teaspoon maybe, and it tastes good. Or by combining about 1/4 cup of sugar with about 1 cup of sliced strawberries and covering them to let them all juice out for about half an hour. You can take that, put it on your biscuits, put the top on, get all that extra sauce out, add some whipped cream, and eat it as a strawberry shortcake. This recipe is not only good for just making and eating, but it also can be a base recipe for anything else you want to make with it. You can also make sandwiches with it. I know a lot of people like making ham sandwiches with this or egg sandwiches, so the possibilities for this dessert can go on and on and on. I spilled, and well, that's pretty much it for this thing, which can be a dessert but also can be a breakfast food. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.